the precipice of the top 10, and the winner of this will go up to number 7, I believe, or number 8. I think I'll just have to double check that on the CyberGamer ladder there. So a big match for both these teams.
While you're double checking that, Rover eSports not messing around, immediately banning out the lone druid there. Very, very popular ban in the ladder and in the competitive scene in general at the moment. I mean, he is just such a strong offlaner. We talk about him constantly lately. I don't feel like there's a lot more that we can say for anyone who's tuning in again. But basically just super safe. The addition of Savage Roar to his kit, replacing his passive, just gives him so much ability to play safely, get away from things. If people go on him, he can Savage Roar, he can use it to secure kills because they're going to run in a very predictable pattern. He can use it to help his teammates land CCs that might require some kind of lead. Just an awesome skill. I'm surprised I haven't actually seen someone doing like a Morana and Druid combination somewhere, but I'm sure it exists. It's kind of weird, but I mean, he does create a perfectly predictable path, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it eventually.
What we don't have here though is an OD ban. Is that going to be first picked here? Because usually that's banned out in first phase.
It could be. I mean, Plan B have opted for the Invoker, which is the pretty classic ban at this stage, and the Nature's Prophet as well, who we've seen being banned out pretty consistently. Honestly, the CyberGamer ladder, and I don't know if this is reflecting the competitive scene. I've been a little bit busy with my schoolworks lately to keep up with the competitive scene too well, but I don't know that this general distaste for global strategy is held through to the competitive scene. I think it must be there to an extent, but especially the CyberGamer ladder seems to really hate the global strategy, and of course the Earth Spirit being a pretty generic hate throughout the world right now. But Rover eSports Club, not willing to give away any of their strategies, are going to take a first pick Lion. An interesting first pick there, especially with the OD open. Plan B might snap up this OD. They are kind of thinking about it for a bit, and they're going to pick up Spirit Breaker instead. So some pretty unorthodox first picks here, where both teams have a pretty good crop to choose from. And they've gone with Spirit Breaker and Lion. Spirit Breaker, a hero you're particularly fond of, I believe, Mads. Any thoughts on this pick?
The Spirit Breaker one is definitely one of the more questionable picks here, because you can always save that till later in the draft. I don't think it's going to be picked or banned by the other team. The Lion, on the other hand, though, is quite a common pick nowadays. He's such a strong support, and he's very well rounded as well. So, not too surprised he's picked up early. Again, like the amount we've seen OD lately, like in pretty much all of the CyberGamer ladder games, I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet, but he may indeed be picked up a bit later on.
I mean, like right now, if Plan B were to pick up OD, I would totally be okay with the Spirit Breaker pickup, because an OD who's already such a strong head, and then you're giving him the ability to get Spirit Breaker support on the mid lane. That's a beautiful snowball combo available to you right there, and any mid laner would have to be playing super careful. Even like high mobility heroes like Quap and Puck would be having a bit of a hard time if a Spirit Breaker got on them. Yeah,
Spirit Breaker, a hero that a lot of teams just have in their back pocket. He gives you so much, that obviously that global that we've been talking about, the being able to target anyone across the map, gives you good vision as well. Crystal Maiden second pick on. Now this is getting really unpredictable, to say the least.
Cam's playing a better psychological game than I think I've seen in the entirety of the ladder right here, man.
That's confident.
Supports and unorthodox picks that would never be banned. This is an amazing game. I think Plan B are using their Plan B right here, looking to tilt Rover eSports with some unorthodox pickups here. They've definitely got a plan though. I'm hoping to see a Lifestealer third pick from them with an Aghanim Scepter, so they can eat Crystal Maiden and then get out of the Spirit Breaker and do the 3-man across the map high-powered ganks.
I'm hoping to see that they follow through with their blue glowy strat. Maybe an Ancient Apparition, throw that in there. There's a whole lot of blue heroes that they could still pick from in the pool, so we'll have to see how the rest of their draft ends up. But this has really put Rover's eSport on the back foot. They're taking a long time with this second pick. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have gone pretty heavily into their reserve time early on. It is kind of a difficult situation because neither team has really given away any of their strategy, despite the fact that both teams have had big chance to pick a lot of things. And I do have to wonder if Rover eSports maybe not expecting to take the OD and kind of trying to take heroes in response to that, kind of bait out a pick from Plan B, but they're not interested. They're going to pick up Faceless Void. I like this possibly more than the Crystal Maiden second pick. As we go into the banning phase, Void are probably going to be going in the off lane. Do you think he'll be facing the Spirit Breaker? Well, not facing the Spirit Breaker, but do you think the Spirit Breaker will be taking it off lane, or perhaps just an aggressive roaming position?
Generally, they're used as like the 4th position. I have seen fifth position as well. Generally, they just go roaming. I don't think he can be played in the offlane, but it is a little scary given his escape is somewhat unreliable.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with a Crystal Maiden in the game, you can pretty safely accept that he's going to be at least in a 4th position role. I don't think position 4 Crystal Maiden will be something that we're going to see coming anytime soon. Although I do recall an in-house that was played a long time ago, which you may have been part of, in which I got an Octarine core on a Crystal Maiden, and can indefinitely frostbite people. It's quite beautiful.
So followed up with the Witch Doctor ban, just a great combo with Faceless Void, so strong ban there from Plan B. Pretty straightforward as well.
Yeah, that Witch Doctor Faceless Void combo has been one of the most popular pickups, I think. One of the most popular 2-hero combos that I've seen in the CyberGamer ladder. Everyone loves to pick it up where they can, and it's been used to great effect a lot of the time. I think a lot of teams have a bit of an issue with actually managing to get the Witch Doctor their farm, is one of the major comments I can have on that. Like something we've seen pretty consistently across a lot of the Witch Doctors played in the CyberGamer ladder, and also, honestly, generically, the position 5 and to an extent position 4 supports. Some of the teams tend to play quite greedy, and often it doesn't pay off for them, and as they move into the late game, especially when they're behind, they have supports who are kind of drastically underfarmed and underleveled, and it often costs them a lot. I think especially with the meta and all of the changes that have been made in recent patches with the XP and gold sharing, heroes should be much closer in net worth than they have been historically, and the whole idea of 4 Protect 1 is very much kind of going out the window. Teams have to play much more as a unit, and often I think that a big failing in the CyberGamer is that people are letting their supports fall behind a little bit too much. But will I rant wantonly? We're going to see a Sven and eventual Spirit banned out, 2 heroes who are super popular lately.
Also, I like that Venge ban. They've obviously spotted out the blue glowy strat, and have decided to ban right into that. So
absolutely.
Good
and I mean,
good work
Sven
from Rovers.
is kind of also part of the blue glowy strat. Not quite as glowy, but it's definitely still got the blue going on until he gets really, really mad at level 6 and red. But yeah, I mean, Sven has been such a strong hero that we've seen lately, huge amounts of farm, and especially one of the top teams in the ladder, I think Legion, do it a lot. I'm pretty sure it's Legion I'm thinking of. Love to put Sven in a safe lane, have their support stack the entire jungle and the Ancients with a Mask Madness Sven. And then not Mask Madness, sorry, Helm of the Dominator. The Sven will stack his own Ancients and his supports will stack the entire jungle, and then he proceeds to, around about 10 minutes, get like 3 to 4k net worth extra in about 2 minutes. Kind of horrifying, definitely very, very strong. So I think it's a pretty valid ban. Obviously, Plan B are going to go ahead and ban out the OD. Which we so we so desperately rather wanted to see, but it's not going to happen. Interesting that both teams are pretty happy to let such popular picks go by, and then they're going to respond with their mids from both sides, Puck and the Zeus. Puck hasn't seen a lot of play in the meta lately. Going to be interesting to see what they do with her. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a hard meta for Puck right now with such strong mid laners in the game.
Puck's actually, she's really strong against Zeus. I'm not 100% sure why you'd pick Puck against Zeus against a Puck. But anyway, they'll decide to go with that. Zeus working really well with their lineup. Faceless Void in line, lots of magic burst there with the line there. We got the Spectre pick up. I mean, he passes as blue. I guess he's a very dark blue, but I mean purple, yes. Some might say.
I'll have you identifying their sexes correctly, please. Spectre is a woman.
all right. You got me there.
I'd like to point out that Puck is also a woman. Her voice actor is a female.
Oh, just the big calls coming out from a wandering bear here. So we got the Enigma pick up on Rovers. They want some big ultis. easy setup as well with the chrono into the black hole. So hopefully we'll see that at some point in the game.
I think I'd almost like to see it the other way around, to be honest. But it's hard to say. I don't know. I don't think chrono and black hole are the best combination, personally.
I mean,
it's very hard to get a.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. I feel like the chrono after the black hole is almost better because I think it's very hard as Enigma to set up a good black hole coming out of chrono. Just because, like, if you get too close, and black hole does not have a long cast range. But if you get too close, like, you're in a very bad position. Obviously being stunned by your own chronosphere there. But I mean, something that I think maybe both Enigma and Zeus, well, Zeus definitely is going to pick up an Aether Lens this game, and maybe Enigma picks up an Aether Lens to get a slightly longer range on putting that black hole down, just a combo with that. It could certainly be a good item after, like, a mechanism, since the Faceless Void is probably initiating in this scenario.
I don't know if I've seen many Aethers on Enigma. He's got way too many options. Like, you need a mech, you need a blink, you need a BKB. And then questionably a refresher as well, so there's so many options for him.
Yeah, I've played quite a decent amount of, quite a fan. I think that Aether Lens is pretty good on him. I mean, it's an extra 200 range on your ultimate, which is essentially melee range. It can make a difference. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's a decent item pickup, especially with this specific combination. I don't think Blink is as important for Rovers right now, just because they have a Faceless Void who can do the initiation, like he's going to put down the Chronosphere. So Enigma can kind of walk in with relative impunity. Mech is definitely still a good item for it. Obviously Refresher is the king of all Enigma items if you can get to it. But I don't know. I'd love to see Aether Lens. I'm not sure whether or not it'll be picked up on him. I think it is possibly viable for this particular lineup.
What I'm going to want to see, though, is a Veil on Zeus. There's a lot of magical damage coming out now.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Dota's just not liking you. Clink's a hero we actually see often paired with the Faceless Void. Obviously he wants to just sit on the outside of that and just you know, fire his flaming arrows in there. And he's gonna have a lot of opportunities to do that in this game with the Enigma as well, with the black hole. So him and Zeus will have to be the bulk of the damage here. Obviously you got the Finger Death online as well, but we'll see the big deeps coming out from those two. I mean, it's just like their picks really, unorthodox, and it really throws the team off. They're going to see that donkey and really question what sort of team they're up against here. So yeah, good play from Plan B.
Seconds to battle.
Hey, it's a happy tree.
Some nice comments there from the players here. Thanks very much, guys. But yeah, we're going to see both teams kind of milling around this top rune. Be a pretty serious engagement here. Faceless Void doesn't really seem to be interested in securing this rune, but Spectre is going to be able to. She's moving down to the jungle to secure herself a nice bounty there. And in fact, Rover's a little bit indecisive there, going to send someone down to try and grab the bottom rune and back away from the top rune, but instead, ceding both runes to Plan B.
Yeah, that's a bold strategy, giving away both runes there. We'll see how it plays out.
Do you think it's going to pay off for them, though?
Probably not, but, you know, it's worth a shot sometimes.
definitely. Rovers are going to, of course, secure a nice ward here to keep their mid safe, and they have managed to block the pool camp for Plan B's safe lane as well, so that's always a solid. Spirit Breaker is going to be moving here as the support. Trade a little bit with the Faceless Void here, but I think this is probably going to be a relatively uneventful lane, to be honest. Spectre picking up 8 tangos. She's thinking there's going to be a fair bit of fighting going on here, but has picked up this Stout Shield, Quelling Blade to go with those, so the standardized Spectre build there from most players, I'd say. Do you think we're just going to see the popular Badman build coming out from the Spectre this game, mates?
Yeah, I would assume so. There's no real picks on the other team which would sort of make me think he would go anything else. You know, if you see heroes like TA, I mean, even I was going to say you might like Russia Radiance, but even then your urn will burn off things like the shield anyway, so yeah, I'm sure that's what we'll see.
Fair enough too. I mean, that's, yeah, definitely an interesting choice there. Going over to mid though, we're going to see Parker's picked up 2 Fairy Fires against this Zeus here.
Fairy Fire save lives, man.
They do, and I mean, with the Null Talisman and 2 Fairy Fires, and I think it looks like 2 pulled tangos. 2 pulled tangos there, along with the magic stick. So Puck in a really great position to dominate this lane. Looking up at the CS, we see he is kind of behind the Zeus, who's having already 3 denies. So it could be tough, and it looks like the line is going to come down here also to help the Zeus secure this bounty. Going to be a nice pickup for him there, since he already has the bottle, having gone fast bottle build, getting 2 pulled tangos and a couple clarities, I think. But Spirit Breaker on the bottom lane is going to pick up a double damage. Does have the Charge of Darkness, but doesn't have level 2 here for the Greater Bash. I think I would like to see him kind of sap any XP he can real quick to grab that level 2, and then probably go on Zeus.
Yeah, Spirit Breaker, interesting, he's just sitting out of XP range here. I'm wondering if he's waiting for an opportune moment to strike on the Zeus there, but it's going to be a tough kill.
I mean, with the double damage, he's going to put out a whole lot, around about 150 damage per hit before armor reductions, with Zeus only having 650 HP.
Here he goes.
No charge, no bash for the charge. He's going to come in here, and he's going to probably whack the Zeus a few times. Minus stun. Puck so low, yeah. Zeus is going to turn around and maybe consider it, but he's going to take another hit for his troubles there. It's super tough for him. On the bot lane, we are going to see Void kind of getting pushed back near his tower, but this is not a position that Spectre really wants to be in. Void having level 4 already does take a Frostbite, but Spectre not in position to make any use out of it. Does have 1 level on Desolate, 2 levels to Spectral Dagger, and we missed the first blood on middle. I did not expect that, and it looks like the classic missing of the first blood. I mean, me there, man.
This is standard. This is standard clutch Dota, really.
It is standard clutch Dota.
No one actually wants to see first blood, though.
I have to give it to them. Obviously, I did not see what happened, but I did not expect that, especially after Zeus already forced out. Did know that the Spirit Breaker had double damage. I didn't expect him to come forward, but obviously slightly too confident, and Spirit Breaker going to capitalise on that. I think he probably did also get the Greater Bash there. From just kind of being in that lane ever so briefly. He was so close to level 2, and I think that would have done a lot of work for him.
This Enchantress is just putting her foot down in the top lane. She's actually sent both Clinks and Lion back to base.
Wow.
Well, Lion's actually just going to get a self carrier to him, but yeah, she's really pressuring these guys, and they're not having fun.
Definitely. Puck had a little bit of trouble there mid, was able to pick up an invisibility rune to get away, but very, very low on health, having to use the invisibility rune and a bottle charge. Throws out a illusory orb there to make sure that the Zeus stays where he is while he goes down to secure the bottom rune as well. So 2 runes for Puck. He's going to be pretty happy with that. Denying the Zeus a rune also going to be pretty big. So
Meanwhile,
running out
top lane, Enchantress almost going down there, but Fairy Fire keeping her alive. The Clink's also extremely low, so they're just having a bit of a tussle there. He has no regen at all, so it's possibly the second run back to base for him. This is not what you want as a safe
surprised
lane.
that Lion didn't decide to give him the TB scroll he's holding there. Could have been a good choice, but also like Lion probably wanting to be able to TB and to assist any of his other players. Enigma though, going to be cruising in the jungle, has picked up a smoke, so hopefully going to see some kind of aggression from him there. Leading the last hit charts, as most junglers do at this early stage in the game, just able to secure last hit so easily. Spectre though, sitting right behind him,
Yeah, the fact that they have a jungler though is meaning that they are losing their lanes. We can just see that with Enchantress having impunity on this top lane, getting great CS here, and the Clinks on the other hand not having a fun time. So they may pay for this. Bottom lane though, Spirit Breaker is getting gone on. The Chronosphere has dropped. He's going to get bashed a few times, then Spirit Breaker will finish him off. They might get see him here too.
Lynx is going to be chasing for it, but I don't think they're going to be able to secure it here. Void throws down the time dilation, but now Puck's coming in with a counter initiation, throws down the waning rift. Now a Dream Coil onto the Stasis Void. He manages to jump out of it with the time walk. He gets stunned though. Can they secure this? Spectre 4 seconds on the dagger and has to back away after being hexed. Puck's going to throw out the orb and manages to secure it. A snipe orb, and now charge is coming onto Clinks and Spirit Breaker's making its way back. Might keep this down, but Spectre getting hit with a Malefice, cancelling her TP. She's not able to escape. Hit onto Puck is dodged very nicely with the phase shift to avoid the last Clinks arrow. Puck really showing us some very, very strong play. Spirit Breaker forced to cancel the Charge of Darkness onto the Clinks as Zeus just moves back towards middle.
Great fight there from Rovers. Unfortunate that they
Really
did lose
impressive.
the Void there. He wasn't quick enough on the fingers to dodge that orb.
Yeah, I mean, big credit to the Puck. That was a delightful orb to watch. And then kept on, like, kind of counter following that up essentially with a perfect phase shift on a Clink's arrow to keep himself alive and managed to escape. Really beautiful play there from the Pucks. But they are leaving this top lane free for the Enchantress. She's now up to level 6. Highest CS, short of Enigma, of course, in the match right now. Throwing out Impetus Spears that do a third of the Void's health in a single hit, and she has the assistance there of that Sated Tormentor giving her an additional 6 health regeneration, plus the Nature's Attendance. She is not to be harassed right now, and then goes ahead with the Tormentor and throws out a Shockwave on the Void. He's now very, very low on HP as my camera links to somewhere that it really shouldn't for some reason. And throwing out more impetus on him. He's time walked this, but time walk's still on cooldown. He's now below 200 HP.
He's sticking around here a bit too long, I think. He's not really achieving a whole lot either.
Amazing, she's really showing him, and a Shockwave again hits him, and this time he gets the message, time to leave, backs away. Getting right the way out of there. Meanwhile though, Spirit Breaker's gone pretty deep, and he's going to get caught out by Clinks on the bottom lane. Zeus is going to throw out the ulti and 2 final arrows there, going to secure it. But CM now out of position, and the Skeleton Walk coming out from Clinks, he's going to hunt this down. He wants this CM, and she's going to be a pretty easy kill from for them here. Lion's going to put down a Hex to help him secure it, and 2 nicely placed flame arrows going to secure the Crystal Maiden there for a nice 225 gold.
These kills
really
are
beautiful play.
Exactly what Clinks wants. Getting that team fight before, he was involved in 2 kills there, and now another 2. So he did have a bad start, but he's definitely catching up. He's now ahead of the Spectre, so he's doing really well now.
Definitely, I mean, not the greatest net worth, sorry, not the greatest last hits there, rather, only
like
just reaching about 30 now.
Got a TP coming in.
And there's a CM in the area too. He's going to move forward, he's going to see him, but she's going to put down the cold snap there. Not cold snap at all. Spirit Breaker's going to try it, but they've got it dusted. Now the Void coming in with a big Chronosphere. They're going to manage to kill the Spectre, almost. The Lion hit is going to get dispersed by too much, and the Earth Spike misses. They get a hit onto the Enchantress, but now she wants to chase. She's going to enchant the Lion. And Charge of Darkness coming in as well. Does she have enough mana? She does, to throw out Impetus Spears, and that's going to secure a Lion there. Wow, what a beautiful engagement from Plan B once again, just really managing exactly what's going on essentially, and just handling it so well. Obviously losing the CM, which was a little bit unfortunate, but the Enchantress coming in, really managing to pull that back for them.
I mean, that could have... Spectre actually going down there to the Zeus ultimate.
Wow.
Nice call there. Nice call from Zeus.
Definitely. I think it would have just been off cooldown because we saw it used a little bit earlier too. Just around about when just before the Spirit Breaker went down.
What I was going to say before was that I think if the Clinks actually continued to hit the Spectre and the Chronosphere there, he actually might have gone down. I think he thought that his team had enough damage to finish him off, but he ended up walking away. But as we just saw then, Zeus managing to do the damage anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Spectre's dispersion is not something to sniff at. Such a great damage reduction, and obviously, it essentially makes 25% of her health cost everyone in the area 25% of their health if they do try to go down. Lion, though, is going to sneak around here. He wants to get this Spectre. Does he have 6? Only 5. Needs to leech a little bit of XP here and get that Finger of Death, I think, if they want to secure this Spectre. But Void is in the area. Still 30 seconds on Chrono, though, and the CM is going to go down and throw the Frostbite on them, but they're going to counter with that. Lion's going to throw down the Earth Spike and Void time walking forward to secure it. I'm often not a big fan of offensive time walks, but I think that was a really nice one.
Yeah, he didn't have much to worry about then. The only follow-up was the Spectre damage, which isn't really that much at this point in the game.
Now 4 bot from Rovers. They want this tower and they want to deny the Spectre any farm they can. Gonna send in some Zeus solutions to see if they can bait some attacks, I think. Or find the Spectre. They do manage to do so. Did they see him? I'm not sure if they actually saw him. Plan B are aware of this. In middle though, Clinks and Puck going to be having an exchange, and Puck in a really tight position, going to phase shift to lose Rio about, and Clink's going to maintain dominance of that lane, but a Spirit Breaker charge is coming in, and there's also a CM in the area. The charge is going to hit. They do dust it, but Spectre's not going to come in, and 2 teleports are going to force them to back away. Spirit Breaker juking around the trees, but Clink's throwing it so much damage.
They've actually caught out Spectre in the jungle here.
They have in fact.
Chrono.
Caught Spectre in the jungle. I'm surprised that Spectre didn't actually jump in that case, but maybe they jumped it. Maybe they did it just after the jump.
Yeah, I don't think she had anywhere to jump to. I think the reason she dropped Haunt was possibly to pick the Clinks off, but then they realised he was too far out of position, so he decided not to, and then he was stuck alone in his jungle.
Oh dear, that's rough. Very tough for them. I think Rover's doing a really great job of shutting down Plan B's Spectre here. Spectre is like a relatively greedy hero. She does like to get a bit of safe farm in the early game to secure herself some items. But before I can even finish talking about that, we're going to see some more attacks coming in here. Spirit Breaker is going to be charging our Faceless Void on the bottom lane. And Puck is going to throw down his recoil but miss it. The Spectre Dagger is going to hit the Void, but he's going to be able to walk away relatively free of charge. Now the Enigma, though, is going to push the middle lane with the help of Zeus and Clinks, taking that mid tower, securing 2 towers for themselves pretty early on. 2 for 2 on each side in terms of towers.
Could this be our first black hole? I want it.
Could be.
I want it bad.
Definitely could be. Here they come, moving in.
Lion on the Spectre here.
We see the Earth Spike going down, and wow, immediate Finger of Death in combination with a single hit from the Searing Arrows makes the Spectre disappear. This is a level 7 Lion versus a level 7 Spectre.
They did have a ward there.
A little bit frail.
Good a ward, which would have spotted that out, I think.
I think they rotated it. No, I think they came through the jungle, did they not? Like through the lower jungle and then back up around.
I think half of them did, but he must have seen at least one of them.
The Lion at least definitely came low.
Maybe he wasn't too worried.
So I'm guessing that he Victor probably saw him just a little bit too late. They're going to go ahead and take Roshan now, though. Clink's having the medallion for that fast Roshan. When we look at Void, we see he's already got the Headdress, Basilius, and the Morbid Mask, so he's looking to pick up the Ramirez there as Roshan turns into a giant fish. I think I've seen that one before, that's kind of amusing. Spectre's going to throw out an ultimate though, but Zeus is here. He's going to wail on the Enchantress, and that's a lot of good damage output, and immediately destroying the 3-man Chrono.
Nope.
Are they going to black hole? I don't even think it's worth black holing here. I think they've just got the kill. Puck's going to throw out an illusory orb to try and dissuade them from chasing, but that's not going to happen. And Rover's really showing dominance in this early stage of the game. Great chronos and really great use of the Lion. Just huge damage coming out from him. Able to eliminate their Spectre. Unfortunately, Enchantress got a little bit too far forward in that fight as well. And that really cost them. Interestingly, though, their last hits are still like pretty far behind Plan B. Plan B kind of playing a stronger farming game, except for, of course, the Enigma. But Rover's playing a fantastic aggressive game, and looking over the net worth, we see 7.5k in favour of Rovers.
Yeah, I hear last hits on heroes are worth a little bit more than last hits on creeps, so that's their game plan at this stage. I did want to point out Somatic having great chronospheres from him. Every single one he's dropped has been on point this game.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic.
It's really won them fights.
The Enchantress is going to throw down a few Impetus Spears there, but they can lose him. They're chasing, but now the Puck's coming in. Big drink coil. There's a charge onto the Faceless Void, but a nice lightning bolt cancels the charge, keeping the Faceless Void alive. Not that he was even worried after time walking so much damage out. I think he time walked like 75% of his health back there. That was a bit impressive.
That Crystal Maiden needs a lotto ticket. Bottom lane, Black Hole is dropped for the Spectre. Am I going to get this kill? First Black Hole of the game. I like it. Easy setup. Easy kill.
Yep, Spectre in a really tough position right here. She does want to try and get farm, but they're hunting her. They're not having any of this. They're very aggressive up in the Radiant jungle, taking the Radiant jungle now. In fact, we see them all moving in, looking to secure any farm they can. There are wards in the jungle here from the Radiant team, so they may get spotted out, but I don't actually think they can pick them off at this stage.
Yeah.
We did just look at the net worth, which has gone further in Rover's favour, but looking over the XP end, we also see a very similar situation, almost 8k XP lead. And looking at the hero levels, we see Enigma level 11, but level 10 from Clinks, Zeus, and Void there, while Spectre only level 8. Lion also level 8, so tying the Spectre, but again we see this classic case in CyberGamer. The support's only now just getting 6 for Crystal Maiden, and Spiritbreaker's still only 5, making them just really easy targets for Rovers to pick off and force really poor fights. And I mean, they are just gold farm basically
these
right
first
now.
2 picks from Plan B have not really worked out for them. They haven't provided a lot of work, and Clinks is actually going to find this Crystal Maiden, who should just be food, but they find him. He does have the Aegis though. He's going to fall here. His team is following up.
Crystal Maiden. I'm not sure the life of a Clinks is worth the Crystal Maiden, even with an Aegis, but they're going to get a Spirit Breaker as well. Another very low net worth hero right now.
And that's going to be a tier 2 as well. And what I'd expect is they won't go high ground for a little bit. I don't think they have the heroes for it, but they'll rotate around and probably take all of the outer towers.
Chronosphere going to go down onto the puck though, along with a lightning bolt. Impetus being thrown down on the void, but it only hits once. I think that was a high ground miss actually for the first one. It was definitely something anyway, and then he's going to backtrack the second one. Not too phased. And Trantra's putting out a huge amount of damage. She does already have that Dragon Lance. Super big amounts of pure damage coming out from her there, but I mean,
just going to push high ground now that the puck's down.
I think it's pretty doable. They're going to throw down some Impetus Spears here, but Lion's going to move forward and hex the Enchantress. She's their major source of damage, so they have to be really careful right here not to lose her. Lion going to take a huge chunk of damage, but
they don't have Black Hole or Chrono, so they do need to be careful.
And they have just dropped the Guardian Greaves off the Enigma too, which by the way is quite a nice pickup for them. They're going to put some damage onto the Clinks, but Enchantress no longer has any mana for Impetus. That's a lot of their damage out. Spirit Breaker's going to go deep, but his team's already changed their mind. Not able to hit the stop command fast enough. He's going to be in a really bad spot. Puck's going in though. Does have the Dream Coil off. It's going to stun the Void. The Lion's stuck inside of it. He's trying to avoid it, but he gets stunned anyway. In combination with a Frostbite, he goes down. Now they're chasing. Indeed, Puck's going to keep chasing. He wants this Void. Charge Dark's going to come down, but Clinks is rotating back in. A big Zeus ult is going to secure the Puck, and now they're hunting down the Enchantress. She does have a Malefice on her, but they're going to get a Puck.
Oh wow, they spent so much to try and kill that Void there.
Definitely, and I don't even think it was the hero they really need to, although I guess like anything is worth it at this stage. Enigma, I'm not sure if that was like an actual attempt to catch an invisible hero, or just a BM Black Hole. Either way, like Black Hole going down for Enigma, so there now stands that.
Either way, I enjoyed it.
Chronosphere on 10-second cooldown. This is a bit of a stomp from Rovers though. 20 kills up. Plan B in a very dire situation. Enigma
got a pull
down there. Enigma's just in a tough spot now though. I mean, an interesting overcommittal there. Now Zeus is super deep. 2 very high value heroes going down for them. Big streaks getting thrown.
A lot of pings there from Enigma.
A lot of get out of their pings. BMing their own team as Spirit Breaker now chases down the Void, but Earthspike coming down and Clinks is here as well. He wants blood. Puck's going to throw down Dream Coil and the Waning Rift. Void very low, but manages to get the Chronosphere off, and now the Spectre's going to melt. Puck the only one left, and a big crit from the Clinks there. Was that a crit? Where did that damage come from? That was huge. It must have just been the Clinks searing arrows there. They're now going to hunt down the Enchantress. They're kind of just like trolling her. Clinks is going to drop items around her to try and make her stop.
It's definitely BM.
Yeah, I think
Kanye West
BM
is
coming
not
out from Rovers here. Yeah, Kanye West a little bit sad. Might be listening to our commentary at the moment. Wants to listen to his music instead. not hearing the things he wants to right now. They're in a super tough spot though.
Again,
Plan B.
this Faceless Void just doing so much work. It's such a strong pick against Puck as well, and they picked Puck into the Faceless Void, which I think is probably a lot of the reason that they're losing right now, because he just dies in fights as soon as he gets chronoed.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting choice from Plan B in terms of Spirit Breaker and Puck. I don't think that Puck was necessarily the worst choice they could have made, and I don't think I certainly wouldn't attribute the loss to Puck. I think that might be a bit far.
What mid hero would be worse than Puck in this situation? I mean, obviously,
Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit. I don't know, to be honest. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I still don't think that Puck was the worst pickup. He gives them a great initiation, which they don't have otherwise, and I don't think any other mid would give the same initiation that Puck does. Spirit Breaker is an interesting initiation, but I don't know. Honestly, I feel that Rovers have just played their game much better than Plan B have played what they were going for. Plan B have been getting picked off a lot by Rovers. Rovers very aggressive, like kind of 3 to 4 man attacks, and they've just kind of snowballed out of control, which is exactly what they wanted to do. Even despite the fact that Spirit Breaker was doing a lot of work mid early. I just feel like
they were doing so well in the lanes, and then they just couldn't handle these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, Spectre got shut down in a very big way, and kind of just kept going back to bot lane. They kind of had 4 bot lane, and they couldn't do a whole lot about it. They had some very unfortunate team fights there, where people just kind of got picked off ever so gently. And Clink's just such a hard hero to engage into as well, in that he, because of his invisibility, he can just kind of make fights that look winnable, be unwinnable very, very quickly. So tough from Plan B there.
I'm not 100% sure on the how Plan B's lineup synergizes together. They are actually going to drop a Spectre ult here, but it is going to pick up the Clinks.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit
I think
too
in combination with the Enchantress managing to throw down a nice long-ranged Dragon Lance there.
They're going to get themselves a nice 2k gold from that.
Yep, nothing like some 2k gold from a Clinks. Enchantress going to be going for an Orchid Malevolence here. Interesting pickup. I would have thought Aghanims. Any thoughts on this, Mance?
Just before I tell you that, they're going to go on the Spectre, but it looks like he's going to walk away. It's great against the Puck. It's good against the Crystal Maiden if she's sitting in the middle of a fight using her ult.
Except Enchantress is getting it.
Oh, so sorry, Enchantress.
Those are allied heroes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Apparently you can't use it on allied heroes.
Very strange. I don't know why. I've always wanted to silence my allies. Often when you play in the lower MMR brackets, you think that a mute-based item would be quite good.
Probably for the Zeus,
because
he's the kind of hero who you know, only has his abilities. He doesn't have any other escape, so if they can silence him during a fight, it's a lot of the damage.
Do you think they could be looking to counter-initiate the Void with it?
Yeah, if he jumps in, although you gotta have very fast fingers.
Oh, they can get picked here though. Puck's going in very aggressively, but he's going to get hexed and then finger in combination with some nice long-range Aetherling Zeus is going to do a lot of damage. And this is really, really bad here for Plan B. Enchantress getting picked off in combination with Earthspike here. CM not even able to TP out. I'm not sure what she was thinking there. She's going to get 2 hit by the Flinks.
That was a taunt TP, I think.
It did look a bit
Chronosphere is up, and he might
like,
drop it here. No, he's just going to whack away at the Rex.
Devolving ever so slightly into madness.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games. At 24 minutes,
Plan B psychologically.
7 kills on your team's side.
Clink's not even worried about the enemy heroes or the assistance of minions. He just goes ahead and waddles on his mid tower, can chomp it down.
Yeah, looks like
I mean,
they might get Megas here.
Looking, I don't even know if they need Megas to be honest, man. It's looking a little bit too far in Rover's favour right now. Looking over at the graphs, 20k net worth at 24 minutes, almost 1k net worth game per minute of gameplay. They're going to go in now on the Zeus. He is pretty far forward, taking a lot of damage, but the Void is going to counter there with the Chronosphere. Puck is going to in fact TP into the Chronosphere and get destroyed there by the Clinks. Now the Crystal Maiden is going to be hexed as they eat up the Enchantress. Spectre's running for her life, but they're being chased there, and we're going to see a GG.
There it is. Easy like another great black hole.
Oh, nice,
there.
a nice black hole there from Enigma. He's exactly the minimum range. But that's going to be GG. Rover's taking this game with a very convincing win. Pretty fast. Plan B, unfortunately, their draft not looking out for them. We'll be back with you guys in just a moment for our post-game analysis. But if you're watching on Dota TV, feel free to tune in on Twitch TV at ClutchNZ and discuss with us. Also got another match coming up a little bit later in the evening, so feel free to check that out, guys. Welcome back, guys. A Wandering Bear here with Maz, just finishing up that match between Plan B and Rovers Esport Club. Rovers taking a pretty convincing win there. Maz, any thoughts on the game?
It was very one-sided, to say the least. Rovers playing a great game. At the sort of the early laning stage, I thought it was fairly even. I thought it was even going the way of Plan B there. But then what happened was Rovers just started moving and making fights and taking them, and it pretty much just never stopped on the win train for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think what we've been seeing a little bit of recently in the CyberGamer ladder is a lot of quite good teams registering recently and kind of making their way up the ladder, and I think that may be the case with Rovers. They were 3-1, they're now going to be 4-1. And it looks like they only registered on the 15th of last month, so just over a month since they registered. Pretty recently coming in here. We haven't seen a lot of games from them, but they do seem to be a pretty talented team, very coordinated in their team fight and playing a really aggressive team fighty kind of game, which is something that we've seen a lot from the ladder. Team fight compositions like this seem to be pretty popular. Not the most successful, but down here around about that between 12 and 7, I'd say. A lot of the teams like to play those strong team fight compositions, and they do a great job of it. Fantastic coordination between the teams, which is really exciting to see. But yeah, I think unfortunately Plan B just slightly awkward draft there for them, and we're just kind of outplayed in the aggression phase of the game.
Some questionable first picks by any standards, I think.
By both teams, I think, though, some slightly.
Not really. Like Lion and Faceless Void are pretty common picks right now.
But there was such incredible other options sitting there for them. Like there's so much stuff left open. Sven, OD, like all insane heroes. And they chose Lion and Faceless Void.
It also depends what they're comfortable with as well. Like, you don't just have to mindlessly pick the meta heroes, but generally you want to pick, heroes in a specific pool. But for the likes of Crystal Maiden is, that's I question that pick. I generally always question Crystal Maiden picks in Captain's mode though. I'm just not a huge fan of the hero. She can provide utility with the mana, obviously, but apart from that, I don't think she's worth a first pick though. If you're going to put her in your lineup, you can save her for like third or fourth.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that Spirit Breaker was also a super weird pickup that didn't work out for them in any way, shape, or form. The Spirit Breaker didn't seem to really synchronize up with the team. He went in a lot of times when the team was backing away, and kind of just didn't really fit in very well. I don't know, I thought it was very odd that they took like a Puck, a really strong initiator, and then a Spirit Breaker to go with it. It wouldn't really have been like my choice there, but I mean, a very, very tough draft phase there, and in these competitive games it can be a little bit difficult to think as clearly as when we're sitting behind the desk here. able to see all the information and then look at everything that's been going on. But any particularly memorable moments there for you, Mads, in that game?
There were some big plays by the Faceless Void. The first real fight that sort of turned the tide and set us on the course of the rest of the game was that fight at bottom. Faceless Void getting a chrono onto 2, and then them taking kills there with the Clinks as well. And I think it's really important that the Clinks was there for that, because he was not having the best time in lane. So those kills really started him on his journey to the top, which he soon got to after a few fights. And there was another big fight by the Roche pit, the 3-man chrono, and it was pretty much all over from there. And the downward spiral continued for Plan B.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have to agree a lot with that. I think the major fight that kind of indicated to us where everything was going was the fight on bot lane. Puck managing to snipe the Void with the orb, but then I think they lost like 2 or 3 heroes in response to it, which is super tough to deal with. But probably getting about time to wrap up for this match. We do have another match a little bit later on in the evening, I believe. In about 15 minutes, actually. We've got our next match coming up. So we'll wrap up ever so briefly, take a brief break, grab a drink, listen to some nice musics, and then get back in here for that match, which is going to be Paragon eSports versus Passive Aggressive Warriors. Before we do, though, Mads, paying attention again to our current game, Rovers versus Plan B, your MVP for the match.
Definitely going to have to be Somatic on the Faceless Void. Like I said, great chronos. Pretty much every single one he dropped had at least 2 heroes in it, bar I think 1 that he used to catch out the puck. But yeah, great play from him.
Definitely, and for me, I wasn't quite as attentive as you were, and have just lost my score screen, so can't read the name off there. But I got to give accolades to Puck there. They did end up losing, but I thought the Puck played really well. Some great plays there, and I loved the snipe with the orb, and some fantastic phase shifts and great coils there on initiation. So,
just before we go as well, we just got a question from the Twitch chat. If Enchantress didn't abandon the 5-man ganks, do you think the result would have been any different? What do you think about that? So that's obviously earlier on, when those fights were happening.
It's very hard to say. I think Enchantress... So my personal opinion, I think that Enchantress misplayed in that she didn't come to those fights. I think Enchantress was very, very far up in her lane and was putting a lot of pressure onto the Clinks and Lion that didn't pay off in the slightest, because they just didn't really back it up. The big problem with what Enchantress did is when you push carry players to the tower like that, if they can still get CS, they're getting very, very safe CS, so it's very hard to kill them. And Clinks is a hero with such high damage when he combines those flame arrows and any kind of mana. I mean, he did get forced out of lane a couple times, but he was also just able to kind of leave for other lanes and secure kills while the Enchantress stayed top a lot.
I think that was the big problem, though. Like, Enchantress was doing so well against the Clinks and the Lion. She dominated that lane just by herself, and she was ahead. And then all those fights were happening in the bottom lane. Like I said, that was the beginning of the end. That was the turning point.
Definitely.
And I think she TP'd down there once, but it was way too late. And
she TP'd
as
down there
one of
once
the
and
heroes,
got killed.
Possibly on the end of one, yeah. But again, that was probably after some of her teammates had already died.
It was on the tail end of the fight in which Crystal Maiden put a frostbite down on the Clinks, and they just turned on her and killed her, and then Enchantress showed up and killed, I think, the Lion, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think
I would have liked to see like more action from your offlaner. You generally want your offlaner to be someone who gets involved early and doesn't just farm.
I think after the Enchantress did such a good job of dominating the lane, like it would have been very. It would have been a very good idea for her to just leave the lane and go down to the bot, take that lane from Spectre and give Spectre the top where they already have like a weak Clinks, or I think Void was up there for a bit and stuff. Enchantress is gonna like love the safe lane, especially when she's already got a degree of farm. She's gonna just be able to wail on Void, stop him getting any kind of lead, and jump into the jungle and do whatever she wants in there. So maybe a rotation there could have been really like a very good choice from Plan B. But I just think like the Enchantress is so far up, it was very hard for her to TP, especially against a Lion Clinks. Like Clinks is gonna put out so much damage if you let him.
But the Clinks wasn't even there. The Clinks had left by that stage, and
That's
she
true.
was just sitting up there by herself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we've probably talked too much about that though. Like, maybe a little bit of miscommunication with the team, and obviously we don't know how long these teams have been together, so.
And it's really tough in these matches. Like when you're under this kind of pressure, when you're playing against teams who you don't necessarily know a lot about, or who are doing quite well, or who are quite good. When you're making those decisions in the heat of the moment, you can make those mistakes. It's very easy from our perspective, like I said earlier, to sit back here and look across the entire map and have all of the vision, all of the statistics, and know exactly how and when they should respond. But from a player's perspective, with that limited information, and especially also from a captain's perspective, it's kind of difficult to make those calls. And when your Enchantress is doing so well, I mean, maybe you want her to just snowball out of control and try and survive on the bottom. And then once that Enchantress is very strong, going into the mid game, you can get the Spectre space. But
yeah, like
hard.
while your position 1 Spectre just gets killed. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like the play there, honestly. But that's just me. Obviously, we have hindsight. That's 2020.
Yeah, definitely.
So going forward, next game, Paragon versus Passive Aggressive Warriors. It's another big one. Further up the ladder, even.
Yeah, definitely going to be Paragon at number 5 versus Passive Aggressive Warriors at number 4. Both teams that we've seen. They have faced off historically. Passive Aggressive Warriors taking the last matchup between the two. Passive Aggressive Warriors actually currently 4-0, so looking pretty strong there. But Paragon do have a much longer history at 8-3 on the ladder. So it's going to be a pretty good match. I believe we're starting that in about 10 minutes, are we, mates?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, 7 minutes.
About 7 minutes away
on that one.
At 5:30, so it won't be long now. I have seen both these teams play. Very fun to watch. Paragon eSports, always good. And Passive Aggressive Warriors, they've just shown a great degree of domination in their previous games. So it's going to be interesting if they can bring that same sort of play against a team like Paragon.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they are very, very aggressive players, as we've seen. I think
passive aggressive, actually. Some might say.
Yeah. Strangely, I'm not really sure that that's what actually people would say at all, since they historically have not been passive at all. But you can say that, Mads. That's okay. We'll allow it.
They pick heroes like Spectre. They're passive heroes, but also aggressive when they drop their ultimates.
I see.
You can just get into a fight.
You are the aggression experts there, so I can't really argue with that too much. Looks like the lobby is up though. Team's gonna start joining in now. As we wait for this game, I mean, we just saw a game with two pretty different lineups. Obviously, one team playing a very, very aggressive kind of 5-man lineup, while that being, of course, Rover's eSports doing really well with that lineup. But on the other hand, we saw Plan B running the kind of more standard lineup there with one roam, one support, and one very, very hard carry. Do you think we'll see something similar coming out from these teams here? Or?
I think we're going to see a lot more standard picks from these teams. They're sort of more comfortable with their picks. Definitely from Paragon, we see a lot of similar picks every time they play. Generally fitting a theme and definitely fitting into the meta. So probably a bit more predictable in that sense. I don't think we're going to see first pick Crystal Maidens for one. But I could be surprised. You never know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Crystal Maiden I'd be surprised to see again. Do you think we might see some of the meta heroes that were banned out pretty swiftly / ignored in the last game. I mean, the Sven has been insanely popular lately.
Sven's a big one, which I can't remember if they've played it before. They like to play their Slarks. They like their sort of their roaming heroes. Like I think we've even seen them pick Night Stalker before. To sort of be very active around the map on the side of Paragon.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar. But then you've always got your standards. I'd imagine a Faceless Void is probably going to be picked in this next upcoming game by either team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Faceless Void, another one of those pretty standard picks, just good enough to want to be a pretty regular pickup, but not quite good enough that anyone wants to ban him out at this stage. Maybe that'll change going forward, but I mean, I think people are much happier to let the Faceless Void pick go through and then counter ban against anything that happens to pop up there. Such as what we saw in the last game where they picked Faceless Void and the counter ban went against the Witch Doctor. So I mean, that's pretty standard practice there. But
Zeus another big hero that obviously we just saw, but we're seeing more and more often now. His ability to just output damage is obviously one of the best damage dealers in the game, but he's become very popular, especially with these initiating heroes like the Faceless Void who can sit at front, and we again don't even really see any mobility items being built on Zeus. They're sort of these giant towers of damage that just slowly walk around. I don't think we saw any mobility items put on Zeus that game either.
No, occasionally you'll see Zeus picking up a Yules or a 4-star for safety, but
it's less common now. You would have to agree.
It's not necessary. I think that it's not necessary in the same way that you wouldn't expect a Spectre to pick up a 4-star for a thing. These are carry heroes. They want to get into the fight, and they're protected by the rest of their team, and then they just do damage. This is the point of them. And if you can get away with not building any kind of safety items, then you would. I mean, if as with any carry, if a Spectre, if a Drow Ranger, if a Phantom Assassin can get away with not having a BKB, then they're not going to do so. They're not going to grab one. And I think it's the same with Zeus. If he can get away with not having a Yules or a 4-staff, then he's just not going to take one. And I think Zeus is bordering on becoming a hard carry at this stage, maybe even a hard carry. He's just so strong. He puts out so much damage. He does require a decent health pool if he wants to, like a Bloodstone or something like that. But I mean, if he